Welcome to another episode of the Nashville Dads. This week we have on musician Jon Epcar. We talk about trying to get your kid to eat good food, his time in New York and LA, being a touring musician, his life in Nashville, having parents who are voice actors, and silly things our kids say. We really hope you enjoy the episode. How many kids do you have?
I have one.
Cool.
I've got one kid. He's 6 years old, coming up on 7 pretty soon, and he's in first grade.
Nice.
And he's hilarious, and we were just getting dinner organized up there a second ago. He had a smoothie. He was dipping his entire fist into it and eating it like this.
No.
I was like, "What are you doing?" And he says, He said it gives the sensation of a taco.
No, it doesn't.
And I was like, I don't know what that means, but okay.
Kids say the darndest things. Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic.
I think that should be updated to kids justify the darndest things, because it's not that they're like, there's not that what they're saying is ridiculous and a form of logic I refuse to follow.
Yeah. I like the idea of it's giving taco. Like,
it's giving taco right now. And you're like, it's a smoothie, man. There's no way it can give taco. If you put this in a tortilla, this would be an awful experience for everyone.
It would be. No one wants a wet tortilla.
No. We also do a lot of smoothies because it seems like the best way to hide protein and vegetables possible.
Dude, it's the only way we get the green stuff in them.
Yep.
Is like that's where the spinach goes.
Yep. Occasionally
he'll eat a little basil from the garden or something. I think there's like a little bit of pride associated with that, and so he'll stomach it. But besides that, the vegetables, like, I'm sure this is for everybody, but he used to like crush all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And somewhere along the way, a couple of years ago, it just kind of like flew off, and hopefully to return someday. But for the time being, smoothies is the green stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Ada has been, basically similar. She just crushed everything, ate everything that you would give her. And then around 2, just stopped.
Yeah.
Stopped eating anything and everything, very picky. But she doesn't do the smoothies.
Oh, that's right, because you tried it before, right?
Yeah, she just will not try them.
So what do you do for vegetable intake, or you're just like whatever?
Yeah.
Basically whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever she'll eat.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we give her a multivitamin, so there she gets her vitamins.
Okay. Yeah, that's yeah, totally. It seems like they're fine regardless. I don't know. It's like
right. I didn't eat a vegetable until I was like 20, so they'll be okay, right? That's how. That's except for potatoes. Potatoes count, right? Is that?
Yeah, but that's a right. Vegetable. You can't deny a potato. It's fantastic.
You can't. They're so good.
It's funny because I always kind of loved vegetables, and I was a vegetarian like pretty much my whole life until I was like 27, 28.
Mm-hmm.
But it just depends on the kid. Like my sister is the exact opposite, and I think the first time she ate like a strawberry, she was like 25 years old or something.
What?
So it's just like
25.
It was like chicken and rice, and that was it. And I was on the polar opposite side of that. So.
That's like the Marvel diet now. Whenever the actors need to get into shape, they're just only allowed to eat chicken and rice. So she was just going for that ripped bod. That's
super ripped. Ryan Reynolds.
That's it. Yeah. Her and Chris Pratt. They look. Yeah.
There you go. Devin, were you a picky eater when you were a kid?
I feel like I was, and I feel like my family would say I was. So I don't really remember. So I'm gonna assume yes. I will. I feel like I remember if we got pizza, I would only eat cheese, and at some point in time, I was okay with pepperonis. But I don't know. But I feel like that was more I was shamed into like eating pepperonis. Like I had eaten a piece of pizza with pepperoni, and everyone was like, "See, you don't hate it." So that's I'm assuming I was a punk about eating things,
right?
Because that lines up with most of my personality. So
there you go. for pizza, for me, when I was a kid, I would take the cheese off, put the pepperoni back on.
What?
Yeah, I hated cheese. Hated cheese.
I think I've told you this before. Making pizza at my house is obnoxious because Holly, my oldest, who's 8, will eat only sauce pizza. So it's literally bread with sauce on top of it.
Yeah.
My middle child,
it's great.
Yeah, exactly. My middle child will only eat calzones, so she doesn't want any sauce at all. And then my youngest eats whatever. So like whenever I make a pizza, it is like it's worth it because I will do whatever it takes to eat pizza. Yeah. But I'm just like I don't know what the equation is where you guys eat this like it's a normal thing but like if we get pizza out, they'll eat it like it's nothing. But every time I try to make it myself and include them in the process, they're just like, I don't want any part of this.
They just need to be presented with the finished product. And
that's it. Yeah.
I need to make a bunch of dinners at the same time.
I need to go to Little Caesars, buy the empty boxes, and then put the pizza inside of it and present it to them.
Yeah, there you go.
That might be more work. I'm not sure.
The making multiple meals thing is dude. I've tried so hard to avoid going the route of like, I'm gonna make us a dinner and then I'll make him a dinner. And it just I lost that battle so hard. And so it's like tonight we all ate the same thing. But I just know there's a very limited scope of what all 3 of us are willing to eat. So
I always believe that the dad bod comes from whenever you make your kid food or like you order them, like your kid will be like, I really want chicken nuggets. And then you make them chicken nuggets and they eat everything on the plate besides the chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I'm not going to save 3 chicken nuggets. So then you eat 3 chicken nuggets and then you repeat that 7 nights a week for years.
For years and years.
And you look up and you're like, oh, that jiggles in a way it didn't before. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's all the chicken nuggets.
That's chicken nuggets right there.
They'll get you.
Dude, my dad bod was my legs and arms stayed the same, but my belly just went out forward.
Right.
It was like I was having a baby.
A food baby.
It really like it really does just kind of materialize one day. And I just turned 40 as well.
Okay.
So
congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very much feeling the dad bod in the weight gain, but also very much in like back pain. And like I'm just like, what is this? Nothing is working anymore. Like
I can't get up when I bend up, when I get down on the ground.
All of a sudden, I saw a guy walk down the street today rubbing his back. I was like, same, buddy. I'm right there with you.
I feel you.
Justin, you turned 40 in like 2 weeks, don't you?
Yeah, October 7th.
Dude, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I'm the 5th, so I'm right there with you.
Oh, nice.
Sweet.
How how are you, if you're a drummer though, there's so much like cardio and arm work to it. How are you? I feel like you have to keep some base level of like fitness though, don't you?
I mean,
his arms are jacked, but his stomach isn't.
It's That's just right. The arms. Everything else. No, I mean there definitely is some cardio in it, and like I do try to exercise somewhat, but like for the most part, I'm not playing stuff that's super athletic. You know, I'm not smashing the drums every single night. You know, most of the gigs I'm doing, it's more about like, can you tamp it down a little?
Gotcha. Can you hold it down? You're not doing blast beats. You're not doing double kick drum parts in which you're out of breath because you're basically sprinting while playing drums.
There's no gig that I'm currently on that requires or would be appropriate for me to take my shirt off while I'm drumming. So
I don't know, man. When you fill in for the orchestra, maybe it needs it. You know,
that would be hilarious. John, just get up there, take off his shirt,
and then play play the gong. That's it. Just before you, before you do the climactic gong hit, you got to rip the shirt. You got to Hulk Hogan the shirt off, and then hit the gong.
There you
sit back down.
That's why Travis Barker plays with the Nashville Symphony all the time.
That's right. They flip the gong and him upside down, shirtless, so he can hit it. It makes sense. Gosh.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you mostly play like with pop artists, right? Or what I guess you would consider pop, like Gavin DeGraw and like Kobe Calais and people like that, right?
Yeah, like currently that is the majority of what I'm doing. And so between Gavin and Colby and I've been doing these symphony dates. Some are with the Nashville Symphony, and then I've got some other symphony dates coming up that are like travel to regional symphonies, doing like music of the Beatles and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
And then there's this other guy, Josiah, in the Bonnevilles that I play with sometimes. And that was like a bunch of festivals. But all of that stuff is like pretty, I don't want to say subdued, but it's kind of like pop. It's not super thrashy or anything. It's not like rock. That is totally fitting for like where I'm at and keeping the shirt on it jumps from gig to gig, but this is definitely kind of the majority of the lane that I'm living in now.
Nice. How long have you been playing with, like, I saw Colby Calais play Rites of Spring back in like 2008, maybe 2009. How long have you been playing with her? I didn't see you play drums with her back then.
No, definitely not. Both Gavin and Colby have been about a year and a half.
Cool.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like fairly new. Both of those things materialized, since I've been in Nashville, and I've been here about like coming up on 4 years now.
Nice.
But yeah, before that, I was in New York for a long time, and I was playing a lot of different Broadway shows.
Oh, cool.
And so that's very much not a shirt off kind of gig.
Not so much. And, I don't know. You going shirt off in the pit where no one can see you would be fantastic.
That did happen once. Where
did it really?
Yeah, because my wife and it was like one of our first dates, and I was doing this show in New York. It was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Turn Off the Dark.
Yeah.
And it was.
Did that even make it to Broadway? I thought that was like just off Broadway.
It made it on, but it was such a mess.
There were so many injuries, right?
Yeah,
like,
so many
okay, cool. Yeah.
yeah, that thing. And so, but we were just in rooms in the basement, and my wife and I went camping out on an island for a night or two, and I like did not use any sunscreen, and I was just I was a lobster. Back. And my skin was just like burning with the shirt on, and so I was like, I can't play this show with my shirt on. So I did that once with no shirt.
That is the realization that you've never played drums shirtless because it's just the moment calls for it, but because you were irresponsible with sunscreen is fantastic.
Such a dude thing to say.
Yeah, I'll be fine. It's just like 3 hours outside. I'll be fine.
Yeah, complete lack of intention and totally just responding to poor judgment calls.
Yep. That's awesome.
So what made you move from New York to Nashville?
It was sort of an accident. We without like doing a whole long spiel about it, but we were, so I was doing Broadway shows, and my wife is a dancer and a dance teacher, and I was in New York for like 10 years. She was there for a little over 20, and COVID hit, and our kind of immediate reaction was like, let's just go to the Poconos for a week or two, and then everything will, go back to normal, and we'll just go back to things. And, that obviously kind of kept going. And all of a sudden it was like a couple months later, and we were paying for like an Airbnb in the Poconos and our Brooklyn apartment and drum storage and like a car rental. And it was like, this is not sustainable. In this fashion. So, and we knew we didn't really want to go back to the city at that point, and there was no work to go back for. So we ended up just getting rid of the apartment we floated around a while. We were staying with my wife's family for a while. And then we bought a car and we drove to LA and spent some time with my family in LA. But we were kind of losing our minds a little bit being with family nonstop all the time.
Yep.
And I was talking to a buddy of mine in Seattle, my good friend Ryan, and he was like, "Oh, you should talk to my buddy Ben. He's got a house in Nashville that he Airbnbs." The plan was to come and stay at this Airbnb for like a month. And we were like, "Oh, we always wanted to check out Nashville and we'll just make our way back to New York." And we got here and it was the second COVID shutdown. And it was just, we said, well, we'll just keep waiting it out. And keep waiting it out has turned into, coming up on 4 years. And,
yeah.
And we're still in this house, actually.
Really?
It's kind of crazy to think about. But it
going to be a long-term stay, or are you guys still up in the air?
At this point, we were so, I think it was probably not until like this summer that we stopped going, we'll see. I don't know if we're still, my wife now she just started working for NSA, for the Performing Arts High School. And, we got a kid in first grade now, and it's like, it's feeling like we're living here. It's feeling like we are, actively choosing to be here.
Yeah.
So, and I'm really digging it. I really like the balance of, it feels like there's a lot of community here, but you can also have some space and be in a house so there's sort of this New York, LA, balance that appeals to me there. And, it's been really cool and I like it. And not to mention there's a ton of New Yorkers and LA people
pretty much
now anyway. So it's, I don't need, everyone that I knew in New York has made their way here in some fashion at this point. So
it seems like, I know when we had Ron Pope on like over a year ago, he said that, and like Aaron Schaefer Hayes and his wife also like moved here from Brooklyn area.
Yeah.
And they're like, yes, felt like we moved here. And then like we looked up and suddenly all of our friends from New York were like, hey, we're kind of having kids and it's really expensive in New York. And we still want to do music. So how does this work?
Yeah. I mean, I was already feeling the pressure just being in New York, and I was doing a Broadway show at the time. I was doing the show Mean Girls, and it was running for a good chunk. And like, we were starting to think about buying a place, but I was very much looking at Jersey and Maplewood and getting out of the city because I was really tired of carrying strollers up and down subway stairs. Being in a 1-bedroom apartment. We were in Brooklyn too. We were in Williamsburg for.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it was great. I love Brooklyn. I love New York. But yeah, definitely with the family, it feels a little more relaxing and it's just great. Even just on the block here, where we are, we're in East Nashville, which is totally the Brooklyn of here.
Yeah.
Yep.
But our kid can kind of just run down the block and he's got friends on the block, and in New York, like, I don't think we sort of knew one of the other people that was in our building, and it took a year or less before we knew a ton of the people that live on this street. So it's just nice having, a sense of community and neighbors and all that stuff.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah.
So did you go from living in LA and then you went to Berkeley, right? So you spent time in Massachusetts, then you went to New York or Brooklyn?
I went LA and then I went to Berkeley for 3 years. And then I moved back to LA.
Oh, okay.
And I was doing some work in LA and I ended up joining this band with some friends of mine. And our singer in the band got asked to come do the Spider-Man show as an actor.
Okay.
And the director Julie Taymor thought it would be cool to bring the band and integrate them into the orchestra.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I kind of fell into doing musical theater work, and I had no real experience with it before, so it was a funny show to kind of learn how that job works on, because it was such a weird show where there was so many injuries and all this crazy stuff going on. But yeah, and when that show closed and that band kind of fell apart, and then other shows came along, and I met my wife, and it just kind of, it was like, okay, I guess I live in New York. So
yeah, I gotcha.
And I guess I live here. So I'm just guessing I'm living somewhere since LA, 15 years ago, and just taking it as it comes along.
Well, I mean, with your job or profession, though, it is very much like where can you get work, and so I mean, yeah, if someone's like, hey, we'll pay you to be here, and I feel like music is it's almost like being a handyman or something like that. You do right by one person, then other people are like, hey, can you help me out with this too? And then you look up and you're like, oh, I'm booked every day of the week. This is awesome.
Yeah.
But here I am in New York now.
Yep.
All about the relationships, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jon, you had told me in messaging back and forth that your parents were voice actors.
Yeah.
Tell us about what it's like having parents who are voice actors, because I've never met someone who was raised by voice actors.
It's it definitely prepared me for the life that I kind of live now, because they very similarly would work on, recommendations and word of mouth and relations and stuff. And, they spent a lot of time in the studio, which was also really interesting and kind of piqued my interest. They had me do some voiceover roles when I was a kid, when they needed a kid.
That's cool.
To do something. But yeah, they're both actors, and I used to equate it to kind of the Broadway stuff that I was doing, because I love the work, but I'm not the biggest musical theater fan in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciated the work, and it was within the world that I wanted to be working. And I think, similarly with them, they weren't shooting to be voice actors, but they landed in this really interesting aspect of acting that exists, and they really thrived in that. So they just leaned into that,
Mm-hmm.
My dad worked from home a lot. He did a lot of basically time coding for these anime shows, where he'd look at what they're saying and look at the script and have to time code where the line fits.
With their mouth moving and stuff.
Yeah. And make sure that what the translation is would match what the mouth was saying.
Fascinating.
It's a crazy thing, and they've tried to bring me in on that once or twice, and I always say I'll take a look at it, and I look at it, I'm like, I can't do this, I don't want to. But yeah, it was a super interesting way to get brought up, and it's also LA, so there's a lot of actors around, and and also a lot of musicians around. So I think growing up in LA, it definitely made all of this feel kind of not commonplace, but accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like I was saying, oh, this is an unattainable goal or something like that. It was just my parents do entertainment, and this guy over here and my friend, and they do entertainment. Yeah. So it's you can work in entertainment if you want to work in entertainment. So
yeah. And made you probably more aware of realistically what the hours look like and what your lifestyle would look like if you did it.
Absolutely. which is, it can be a lot of hours and it can be a lot of traveling. And there was a period where my dad was working for DreamWorks at one point.
That's cool.
Yeah, and was doing like some foreign adaptations for the Gladiator movie that came out, and I think Chicken Run when that came out. And so he was in Germany for a while and some other places, but he was gone for months and months at a time. And I think that probably wore down on him, and also definitely wore down on my mom, just with him being gone for like 6 months or 8 months or however long.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and it's also something that I'm starting to feel a little bit, because I'm traveling a lot more now than I ever have in the past, certainly since we started this family. And it's been funny. My kid's been saying the last week or two, he's been saying, "Dad, I think it's time for you to get a new job."
Oh, really?
Man.
He's like, it's something where you'd be around more.
Yeah.
And his go-to, though, every time is like, I think you should be a cop.
What? I mean, you keep things in line, you keep things in order whenever you're a drummer. So therefore, no, I'm sorry, I can't make the jump for you.
No, I'm so glad that you were trying, because I took it and I'm like, I don't know what, when you look at me, that you see police officer. Maybe he's just saying, I wish you were more like this.
Yeah. He's like, hey, Dad, you're not very authoritative, and I'm getting away with a lot. Maybe instead of spending all this time grooving out on drums, you should become a cop and tighten some stuff up, man.
Be a lot cooler if you were a cop.
That's right. Did it break your heart whenever he said that? Or like, how'd you react in the moment to that? Because I feel like I would be like, oh shit, man.
Yeah. I'd be so torn.
Yeah. Man, it definitely, stung the first one or two times, but at the same time, I also hate being away from him, and I'm being away from both of them. So it's not like I am unaware of it, and this was a realization for me. Yeah. I know that it can really suck being gone all the time, and fortunately, right now it's in kind of a role where I'm gone on the weekends, and I'm around pretty much all week. So I'm only really gone like Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
At the moment, which is a lot better than this summer. This summer I was gone the majority of the summer.
Yeah.
And I think that was really hard for everybody, including me. I think there's definitely some residual feelings about it, even though it's kind of calmed down a little bit, and I'm thankful that like the couple of gigs that I have are just kind of sporadic, and it's more weekend stuff as opposed to something where I would be gone for months and months, and I'm not super interested in taking something that takes me away for such long periods of time.
Yeah.
Because it's super, super important to me to be here and be present and have the time. And I love that I get to, do the driving to school and picking up and stuff, and like, and be around for dinner. And, it would, I don't think I could do it if I was just gone.
Yeah.
So, but it is a balance, and it's a balance that I'm constantly trying to readjust and tweak and fine tune. And I don't know that I'm doing it right a lot of the time, but I also realize, like, if I was here, I would be working in some capacity. And that requires time as well. So it's just, I think it is part of the social structure that we all live in. And
we don't all get the Devin Neeson
stay-at-home dad life.
Stay-at-home dad life.
That's right. That's right.
Although I think a lot of dads probably would prefer that over having to work.
That's amazing. So what does that feel like for you?
Yeah. So I, once again, if in a centered state, I try to approach everything with gratitude as much as I possibly can, because I feel like that leads to a better version of myself. So whenever we had 2 kids, we both worked full time, and doing it for a full year was like, we weren't really making any money. Like, I had a job in which I had to be physically present to be paid for it. My wife could work from home. So like if a kid was sick, my wife, who realistically made 3 times what I made, would be trying to do a full-time job and take care of a sick kid at the same time. Or if I took off work, I wouldn't get paid. So like after a year of that, it was like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, you know what, we'll figure out the finances. But I try to always approach any stressful day from that memory of whenever anything happens with our family, one of us is guaranteed to take lead. It removes so many potential conversations of like, hey, our kid's sick. Well, whose job matters less today?
Yeah.
It's almost the conversation you have with your spouse. And like realistically, I'm probably never, my wife is just better at careers than I am. It's just a reality. It's just not the first time I've said it, not going to be the last, but like, I'm not going to find I'd be surprised if I found a job that rivaled the income that she makes. So like, we're always going to be in this dynamic unless things shifted drastically, in which she's the reason we have a mortgage, is because she works a job that can pay for it. So I try to figure out what are the other gaps that I can fill that make our family life better and make things calm, because I still remember the days of getting home at 6 with 2 kids who are starving from daycare, who have been away since 7:30 a.m. And then you're trying to figure out how to cook food while connect with your wife and your kids, get them fed and get them all asleep by 7:30. And it's just, I'm good. Like, I could probably make some money, have a career, whatever, but like none of that seems worth it to me. So I feel like I had a question, then I lost it. Damn it. Oh, since would you ever do studio work? Like, I know you said you mostly tour and do orchestral stuff. Would you ever do studio work?
I do. And I do some studio work in town here. And there's a couple producers I work with, and I work from home. And I have a recording rig as everyone else does in town here, but I've got my couple of people that call me for things.
Cool.
And so, you know, when I drop everyone off for school, I come back here and I work on some projects and stuff here. Okay. Tomorrow or Thursday, I've got a studio session somewhere. So it's cool. It does happen. It's not the majority of the things that I do at this point. And that's certainly a good balance of like being able to be in town. Cool. It's definitely those are I think coveted positions.
Yeah.
The few folks that do work in that stuff, but I'm super happy and thankful that I got a couple of things that I do work on at home here.
Cool.
And it's great. And I've got like a couple of people that call me for that world of stuff. And it's nice to have. And like, I've done a couple of records of my own down here.
Oh, cool.
And I did do I scored like an independent documentary last year down here. And so I get to do a little bit of work from down in this basement, which also, like, being in Nashville, this would never have been possible in New York. And I always dreamed of like having a recording space. And like, you know, I had a rehearsal space that I shared with 12 other people, and there was always a metal band on either side of the, you know, so it's like, there's no recording happening.
There's none,
you know,
whatsoever.
So it's really, it's a total luxury to be able to just say, I'm going downstairs to get some work done, you know?
Yep.
Which is why so many musicians are flocking here, you know?
Yep. I think when we had on Ricky Young from the Wild Feathers, he said that one of the guys, like, he basically is the home base. So like they put all their gear in his basement. They've got a little demo area, and it's almost like some nights they just go over there, kids play upstairs and everything. They go down, record some scratch tracks, and then figure it out later. But like the access to whenever you have a creative moment to actually capitalize on it, as opposed to like, hey, I need to go drive across town to a recording space in which I can't actually record.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Yeah. Exactly. It's awesome. I really, really enjoy it. And we've been looking at moving out of our Airbnb situation
after 4 years.
After 4 years.
Yes.
Because the cleaning fees are just way too high.
It just keeps piling up.
All those hidden fees, they really
it'll get you.
4 years.
Yep.
No, I'm so thankful that the guys that own this place, he's been so cool and accommodating and understanding about the whole thing. But it does feel like it's time for us to find our own place. But it's hard to. We've got so many things on our checklist because where we are is such a luxury. We're like literally around the corner from the Greenway, in East, and having this downstairs, and so like we don't want to leave the neighborhood, and we have to have a downstairs workspace for me. And it's also got to be within this very narrow budget. So
What restaurants are you close to in East Nashville?
Probably, Grill Shack's like a mile and a half.
It'd be hard to leave Grill Shack, man. Grill Shack is so good.
That, and also Nelson's Drum Shop is right across the street from that.
Yep.
Which is fantastic for me, and it's also got I think the best coffee in town, and it's like, so it's just a great little community hang right there that I really, really appreciate. And the folks that own that place, Bryson, he's a dad, he's got 2 kids, and so it feels very family there.
Cool.
And it's just nice having around. So it's like there's so many things that really just on the checklist. This neighborhood just really does it. So
it's hard to beat East Nashville.
It is.
Yeah, it's especially coming from Brooklyn. It does the thing. I
have to give one shout out suggestion. Have you had J Moss breakfast burritos yet?
I have, and they're really great. I love that they're making their own tortilla. Good. And I'm not going to let a breakfast burrito come to the neighborhood.
Well, you're a West Coaster, and it is a West Coast breakfast burrito shop. But no, their breakfast burritos are legitimately good. Anyone I know who's from the West Coast, and not, but West Coast people specifically, I'm like, listen, I know you're missing breakfast burritos. You don't have to tell me. I'm just going to go ahead and assume. And so go to J Moss and have a breakfast burrito.
It's so great. But I also, I do pretty much. I think my wife would agree that I do the majority of the cooking around here. And I love making breakfast burritos.
Yeah.
And my kid loves breakfast burritos. So I'm like, I love what they do, but I also very much covet my time making breakfast burritos at home. So like every once in a while I'll be like, okay, I'm going to get there. Because their beans and their tortillas are friggin' fantastic.
Their tortillas, it's a dude out of Lawrence, Kansas who makes them. And like when Jensen was on, he didn't have breakfast burritos for us, but he gave us this like tortillas themselves. And they're like thin, they're crispy. They make really good. I've made pizza quesadillas out of them before.
Nice.
They are very good.
That's awesome.
I'm just here to talk food. Justin, I had to work food in at some point in time.
Hey, that is perfectly fine with me.
How are you finding Denver's food scene?
So I'm still mostly eating with 3 small children.
Sure.
So it has to be like, luckily though, out west, it seems like hamburgers are a pretty consistent thing. Like the amount of burger joints out here is pretty ridiculous. So I feel like my red meat consumption has gone up since moving out here.
There you go.
I love Thai food, so I'm still trying to find like the Thai place. where the neighborhood that Justin and I lived in was within walking distance of Daeg Thai. If you ever had Daeg Thai.
Oh, dude, you can't beat it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so good.
Like that snowstorm last January, or snow then ice and snowstorm, Daeg Thai stayed open. So like I would just walk. I more slid up the hill than walked up the hill. And was like, Heather, my wife, I'm gonna drop like $100 on Daeg Thai, but we're gonna eat it for like the next week. And it was awesome. It was worth it.
It really is the big caveat about living in East Nashville is it's so far from Nolensville Pike.
Yeah,
because that whole food scene, like
it's awesome.
King Tut's
is perfect. Yes,
is awesome.
Yep.
And there's so many killer spots over there.
Yeah,
and I love there is a lot of killer food in East Nashville, but there's a little bit of a thing that like Williamsburg did as well in Brooklyn, where it's like it can get a little samey and a little like Americana-y, if that makes sense. And it's just nice having the variety and the options that like Nolensville Pike has. And like same when we were in Brooklyn, like we would have to go further into Brooklyn or go into Queens if we wanted to get like some really killer Thai food or some really or Indian or whatever we were looking for that wasn't, just like the burger or whatever.
Yeah. Like I don't usually eat falafels, but the falafels from King Tut's are like, if they're fantastic. They're spiced really well. I don't know if you ever do a recording in Berry Hill, but across the street from Sunflower Cafe is Cafe Mofongo or Mofongo Cafe. It's a Cuban place, like a Puerto Rican place. And they have like Cuban sandwiches that are literally like the size of my arm, and they do empanadas. And it's like one of those little hidden gems hidden in Berry Hill where like
where?
It's do you know where Sunflower Cafe is?
Yeah.
It's across the street.
Huh.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about interesting things. We're getting into food where this is what we need to be talking about.
This is what...
Dude, Devin gave me a shirt of like all the restaurants that have since closed.
Yes.
From like 15, 20 years ago. And it is so many.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, I went to Belmont. I moved to Nashville. I was there from 2006 to 2024.
Okay.
Justin moved there in 2008. And like...
Okay, cool.
Man, Hillsborough Village, like I think the only two restaurants that are still there from whenever I was there are Pancake Pantry and Fido. Right. Besides that, it's completely different. Mafiosa is closing in 12 South is like, oh my God, I can't believe that's going to close. Like 12 South Taproom is the only thing that's left from whenever I went to college there now.
Yeah.
Like, it's a growing city. JJ's Market used to be an awesome coffee shop like near Vanderbilt that hasn't existed now for like a decade or so. Like, so
Lou just closed.
Okay.
Like a week ago. Lou. Which was a great kind of upscale-y kind of, it was schmancy but awesome. It was right next to the sandwich place over here, Mitchell's.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it's like right the house, like the white house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was that place.
Yeah,
and it was killer. We went there once, I think, for like our anniversary or something. When the kiddo was not coming with, because that's definitely not when he's coming with. But but it was great.
Yeah. Food.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got a good buddy that does this another podcast, and it's called Food on Tour.
Okay.
And it's all about it's musicians on tour, and they'll like pick a city and just talk about like where they eat when they're on tour.
Nice.
And it totally makes me think of that. I'm sure there's a Denver episode.
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah. Send that to you. I'm sure he's got some
I'll
good
find
stuff.
it. The sadly I usually go towards like the sweets and bakeries first, because that's what I can guarantee my kids will be experimental with.
Yeah, totally.
So like there's a thing called Duffy rolls out here, which are literally just like cinnamon rolls, and like my kids will eat them, but it's like a cinnamon roll with pecans, a cinnamon roll with pecans and sprinkles, and I'm like, yeah, sure. This is my exploring is different bakeries and donut shops. I'll get to the Thai food and Indian food later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Devin, you're gonna have to start working out.
No,
if you're gonna start eating all that stuff.
I'm still maintaining the same weight.
Okay.
I still walk like 5 miles a day, no matter what, just chasing kids around. So anyway,
my kid came down.
Yes.
Are we doing book or what is this?
Almost. Okay, look. So before, John, I'm grateful that you're easy to talk to, which just means we could easily talk to you for another hour. So we should probably, so you can read your kids some bedtime stories. Before you put your kid to bed, let's put the episode to bed. Yeah!
Oh,
look at
nice.
that segue.
Closing.
Woo.
You should start saying that
was
every episode.
That was a stretch that somehow worked for this episode.
I think he nailed the landing. I thought it was...
Oh, God.
No, thank you guys so much for having me on. This is such a blast.
Yeah. We'll do the last 5 questions real quick for you.
Yeah.
So,
Justin, if you're ready.
Yeah, first one. Did you have any backup names for your son?
Yeah, so we went back and forth a little bit. My wife came up with Bo, which is what his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I came up with Franklin for some reason. I don't know what that was, but I was like, this is a good name.
Yeah.
And I felt really, and we kind of went back and forth for a little, and she won out, but what we ended up doing was Bo Franklin.
Okay.
So his name is Bo Franklin Epcar. And I'm so thankful that she won out because that's such a better. And it just suits him. Like he's definitely more of a Bo. I can't imagine calling him Franklin.
That's awesome. Next question. Do you have a favorite TV dad?
This was the one that I remember listening to the episode, and I was like, I should have an answer for this when we get to this. Man, not really. I mean, I love a TV dad that like is a little bumbling, but everyone kind of loves him anyways. Mm-hmm. I love a Homer.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So yeah, let's go with Homer.
Homer works. He's also, it's what I, for some reason, think of as a TV dad also, because I was raised on The Simpsons.
Absolutely, so, of course.
Yeah. I don't try to be Homer, but I think of Homer as a good TV dad.
Exactly. And I really treasure the moments where somehow, against all odds, things kind of came together and he pulled something off, and it's like, that I'm shooting for that, you know.
His kids were alive.
Exactly.
He did good.
Exactly.
I think one of my favorite parent or Homer moments is Bart is like, Dad, this is the worst day ever, and he's like, so far. This is the worst day ever so far. And I relate to the hint of optimism that exists in that pessimism.
There you go. That's that.
In which I've wanted to look at my kids before, and they're like, this is the worst day ever. It's like, I mean, so far, you still got some years left. Like,
yeah. Just wait until you're in your 30s.
Wait until you turn 40 and you've bent over to pick up a penny and you throw out your back. It'll be fine. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Man. Instantaneously.
Yep.
Next question. Do you have a least favorite kids show that your kid watches or that you used to watch as a kid?
I mean, it really, why is it whenever you actually like the show, they don't want to watch that show anymore?
Never.
There was one that I really loved that he watched for a while that I think was Tumbleleaf.
Okay.
So amazing and calm. And he just went like so far in the opposite to like, you know, he started kind of getting into stuff that was a little fast paced and really like a lot of fighty stuff. He loves anything that's got some battling going on. And I can't think of any of the names of the shows right now, but there was definitely a couple that my wife and I were just like major eye roll. Like we're not watching this one.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm spacing on.
Was it like Spidey and his friends? Did you watch any of those shows?
He did watch a little of that, and that
one can be pretty annoying.
Yeah, that was a little more tolerable than like some of the other stuff. But yeah, it was definitely kind of along that vein of stuff.
Yep.
But I'm like, bring back the Tumbleleaf. Bring back the stuff. You know,
and it'll make me happier.
Yeah, life lessons and
all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Next question. Do you have a favorite kid's toy or activity? Like when your son does it or plays it, you actually enjoy doing it also?
I really like, we got him a drum set years ago, like one of the little Questlove kits. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't play it very much anymore, but when he first got it, he loved playing with me, and we would like do drum, like, you know, playing together, and that was just my favorite thing. And he'd be like, "Let's rock, Dad."
That's cool.
Yes, this rules. We don't do it so much anymore, but he has been doing Taekwondo, mm-hmm. which is really fun to see him kind of like advance and like get confident in that. And yeah, I love just seeing him like gaining confidence and sort of, you know, things where he's like building skills and stuff. And it's just, you know, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. This is the last question.
Cool.
What is one moment in your kid's life you are most excited to be a part of?
Wow. Again, this would be good to prep for.
Nah, we don't want prep answers.
Never. Exactly. If you gave us a prepared answer, be like, but is it really the moment, John?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Did you think about this for hours upon hours?
John?
I have notebooks that I've thrown out with all the wrong answers. Man, I don't know. I will say, like, earlier I was making dinner and he was gone with my wife Tyler, and they were just going to sit outside and have a snack and while I was cooking and stuff. And he was like already on his way out the door, and he circled back. He was like, "Dad, it's like you're the best." He's like, "I love you." And I was like, "Man, this is awesome." It's like those little moments where you're like, okay, I'm not completely messing this up. It's like I'm doing, you know, it just gives you a little bit of confidence that like I'm connecting and mm-hmm. and he feels, you know, good and safe, and like, and I just, that, you know, that moment is those are the best. Those are the moments I live for sure.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. We
Great
always
answer.
Yeah. We also always end every episode with like an opportunity for self-promotion. So like if you want to promote like your Instagram, any tours you're going to be on. Did you already play with the orchestra in Nashville for that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth?
Oh yeah,
thing?
That was a couple weeks ago.
That was a couple weeks ago. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that like, was super fun.
Sweet.
Yeah, we were talking about it because I have no concept of
it's
Final
okay.
Fantasy
that
seventh game is only like most of my childhood, and I cry when I hear certain songs, but it's fine. It's I gotta go.
Once we started playing, I was
such
like, this is what he was talking about. Like,
yeah, it's such a sad song. There's so much somber. Anyway,
and they were
John,
like projecting it on the screen so you could kind of like see what was matching it. Yep. I understood after doing the gig.
It's okay. You grew up and had friends. That's the difference.
No, I just had drums. I was just
drum friends.
It was just as like, you know, me in a room by myself. But there was just drums instead of the video.
Instead of a video game and an acoustic guitar.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, what you got going on? If we want to know more about you, follow you on Instagram, all that good stuff.
I'm on this great podcast coming up soon about dads in Nashville.
Oh, people should check that out. Well played. That's not how self-promotion works. You don't do it.
Check out the stream. It's airing.
Eventually.
I don't know. I'm on Instagram as Jon Epcar, and that's pretty much like I stream all my work stuff into that realm of stuff. I've got a website that is jonepcar.org because I bought the .com and then I couldn't figure out how to use that. So
that's awesome.
I just bought another one, and this one's .org, and so that's what it is.
That's awesome.
I never even noticed.
That is that is so relatable. Of like, you're like, oh, I know how this works, in the cup, and you go, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing.
was like, Squarespace is easier. I'm just going to do that, but I don't know how to transfer over the thing. So I was just
buy a new one. You know what? The two people that went to johnnyepcar.com anyway will be fine. They'll figure it out.
My entire, when I see the statistics from people looking at it this year, it's going to be you guys.
Yeah.
The two of you. Like there was a spike this week in September.
Yep. And it'll be the JMOS people trying to learn who prefers their own home breakfast burritos.
Who really thinks they're making a better breakfast?
Pizza. Yes.
It's definitely not better. That's for sure.
No, they do good stuff.
They crush.
But yeah, man, if you're in Denver, hit me up. I will make you a baked good and come to you and deliver it to you.
I would love that.
I owe you. But dude, thanks so much for being willing to hang out with us, talk about life, and just be a dad for a bit,
Dude, thank you guys so much for having me on. This is awesome. And I will absolutely be listening. And I'm so glad that I was able to kind of get hip to what you're doing here from you reaching out. And it's a fantastic service that you are doing by making this just for so many dads to connect and find that relatability, and it's awesome. So thank you guys.
Yeah, man. Genuinely, sincerely, thanks for being a part of it. Thanks for wanting to be a part of it.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. All right, I'm gonna go read your kid a story.
Okay,
and we'll talk later. All right, guys.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. Please make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Nashville Dads. And make sure to follow us on anywhere you find your podcast, and please give us a 5-star rating. And thank you to Matt Oakes for providing the music for the episode. Catch you next time.